This video is designed to help parents who would like to support their child studying GCSE photography. Useful equipment for the course is an SLR camera, a camera bag, an SD card, tripod and SD card reader. Each student has been issued with a coursework calendar. This can be found in Shelby. This calendar outlines what should be completed each week and outlines each task for the coursework, and a further calendar will be issued for the duration of the exam. Coursework lasts until December of Year 11, and this shows the work that should be completed for both homework and classwork. The exam board that we are entered under is AQA, and the course is split into 60% coursework, 40% exam. Students are marked under 4 assessment objectives, and this is the mark sheet that we use. Each assessment objective is worth 24 marks and they're marked out of a total of 96. This shows the criteria of how grades are awarded. AO1 assesses a student's ability to analyse the work of other artists and respond to their ideas in their own personal way. AO2 is about the development and experimentation of ideas, so this can include different uses of your camera and different edits. AO3 is all about recording your ideas, so this is your photo shoots and how you annotate throughout your project. AO4 is all about developing a personal response and realising intentions. Sometimes this is classed as a final piece or pieces. Throughout the course, we teach students how to analyse photographs and the work of other photographers, artists and designers. We encourage them to compare and contrast artworks to encourage students to develop unique ideas rather than simply copying the work of others. We want them to respond in a personal way and tease out the aspects of the artist's work that they're particularly interested in, as this secures the higher grade. Here you can see how a student is researching the work of other artists that create time lapses and splices. So they're analysing the work of others. There's quite a lot of written annotation on this one. You don't have to write quite as much as this. You could include more images and then mark up and write on the photographs to show your understanding of composition and colour. But this is a really nice example of what an exceptional GCSE portfolio looks like, where the student is thoroughly analysing, understanding composition, understanding technique, and then they utilise this then to plan their own shoot and response. Once students have completed their artist research, they then plan their shoot. This takes the form of a shoot plan. There are lots of resources for this in Shelby. Students may decide to write their shoot plan in a table, or they may decide to do it as a series of notes or a spider diagram. Combining notes and annotation with imagery is always a good idea, but the shoot plan should outline things like the location, the camera settings, the lighting setup, the time of day, and to encourage students to collect everything they need for their shoot. This is a poor example of a shoot plan, as it doesn't explain any of the important things and wouldn't generate high marks. Once students have completed their shoot, they then need to annotate and complete a contact sheet. There is lots of support materials for this in Shelby. This current one is a poor example, as it is not annotated and the images are too small, so it's not very informative. Contact sheets should show the volume of photographs that have been taken as part of AO3 for recording, but then should go into slightly more depth, explaining what's gone well within the shoot, how ideas were adjusted and changed on the shoot, which images may be taken further into editing, where perhaps images may need to be adjusted in terms of lighting or in terms of crop to improve the composition, or where images might be combined, say for example in editing, to show overlays. Contact sheets provide the examiner with an opportunity to see how students develop their ideas, but then are also selective in terms of which images they're going to develop further. Once students have selected their best photos, they then move on to editing these. They use Adobe Creative Cloud, which includes Photoshop, Lightroom and Illustrator, and students are expected to perfect their images, making sure that images are sharp, are correctly exposed, and they are able to use layer mask to select areas that perhaps need to be lightened or darkened. They are also expected to adjust temperature of images and clarity to make sure their images are perfect. Students are also encouraged to hand edit and digital edit their images to further communicate their ideas. Students need to then analyse their own photographs and outcomes, explaining what has gone well and where they are going to go next. They can at this point retouch on their artists, explaining how they're going to develop their ideas further in response to the work of others. It's also good to mention composition at this stage, where students highlight the composition rules that they have followed and their understanding of how we communicate visually using the formal elements as a photographer to show how we are creating different appearances and emotions through the photography. Marking up images in this way covers the drawing aspect. If students have no element of drawing within their portfolio, then 4 marks are automatically deducted from the total. So if students mark up their compositions in this way, this covers a drawing element because they are drawing lines and shapes to identify focus points, textures, and areas of interest in their images. It's also a good idea to identify colour, so using colour swatches, like you can see here, where the student has identified their understanding of colour and colour theory through their photography in how they've highlighted it here. Students then present their images as an image gallery. We call these our finals. Final images can be displayed single on their own, or they could be repeated. They could be adjusted and rotated. They can be enlarged and scaled in different ways. They may be placed side by side in order to fill the frame, or if the student is shot in landscape, then they can have them full screen. The larger the image, the better at this stage, because you are wanting to show the clarity of the photograph, the quality, the composition. So it is really important at this stage that the images are as large as possible. However, if students have lots of finals that they want to show, then they can be grouped together in order to fill the frame within the screen, or they could be repeated and made into collages so that you have your main image as the dominant one and then supporting images alongside. These are all really good tips to help you maximise your marks. Here you can see how a student has reviewed their shoot and gone through what has gone well and what they will do next in order to improve further. We offer students lots of support materials through Shobi and also in folders that are within the classrooms. These can be used to help them analyse other artists' work, refer to their camera settings, teach them clearly how to do their shoot plan, and also cheat sheets that just help recap on the camera skills that they should be referring to when they are analysing the work of themselves and of others. Thank you for taking the time to watch and listen to this presentation. If you have any further questions, please get in touch.